Hello, Christophe. Welcome and thank you very much for being with us today to share your automation journey. As a start, could you tell us more about Schneider Electric and your role?
Hello, Florence. Yeah, so a little description about myself. So my name is Christophe Quincampoix and I'm the Procurement Digital Strategy VP. I've been with Schneider Electric for more than 9 years now in several procurement leadership positions. And before Schneider, I've worked 20 years for HP, Hewlett-Packard in the PC business. I started in R&D and transitioned to supply chain and procurement, both in Europe and in the United States. But let me come back a little bit more about Schneider in a couple of words for those not very familiar with us. So we are the leader in energy management and in industry automation. We are based in more than 100 countries, and we have an extended supply chain, about 200 factories, 100 DCs. And since I'm part of procurement, it is also worth to say that we are managing more than 50,000 active suppliers. So those figures, just to illustrate the level of complexity we're dealing with.
Thank you. Could you explain us what led you down the path of automation?
Oh yes, good question. Actually, in my former positions, I was often confronted with people forced somehow to execute repetitive tasks, often driven by the intrinsic complexity of our supply chain and processes, but also due to legacy. So when I was shaping and designing our procurement digital strategy, I wanted to ensure we were addressing this and not only digitizing the procurement through global solution, but also addressing those specific cases. And this is why I dedicated one pillar of our procurement digital strategy just to advanced analytics and robotic process automation, RPA, to ensure we provide augmented capability to our teams and improve drastically our efficiency. Now, while I'm speaking about our procurement digital strategy, let me briefly explain it. So we structure it around 4 pillars. The first one is all around data management. The second one I just mentioned about analytics and digital automation. The third one is about supplier digitization interaction. And the fourth one is about people development. And on this last one, we put an ambition plan in place for RPA competencies and development.
Thank you. We have learned that many consider speed being hugely important, now more than ever. Do you agree?
Well, it's an interesting question. I'm not sure I would say it is important, but speed has become a basic requirement. It is the way we live now. Do we like it or not? And this goes far beyond businesses. You know, looking the way we buy things, the way we communicate, the way we access information. So to serve our customers, we do need to be fast to match with the world we live in, but also agile to be able to react quickly to changes in the market. And RPA can somehow contribute to this need for speed, I would say.
Okay. And would you say that automation is a C-level imperative in your organization?
Well, not really say it is an imperative, but it's rather a tool we need to use to accelerate efficiency gain in our organization. To me, RPA finds its full value in a given complex environment and enable quickly to offload our people from non-value add tasks. And to extract the most value of it, you need to bring RPA as deep as possible into your organization. Step up the knowledge level and competency of your people for them to be able to identify where are the potential automation opportunities in their daily job.
So could you tell us more precisely which processes did you begin with and how did you come up with this decision?
I will rather describe, yes, the way we gradually have penetrated RPA into the organization. So as I explained earlier, describing a little bit about our environment and in which we navigate and the complexity around it, there was, yes, and I should say there is still a huge opportunity for automation in our procurement processes. So my approach was to start quickly addressing the low-hanging fruits that were impacting our procurement people at all levels. And for this, I organized several workshops with the right balance of profiles, going from process experts, I would say procurement experts, to young digital talents, individual contributors, managers. So we gave them an introduction to RPA, then example of what problem can be solved through RPA, and illustrate them with concrete example in other functions where bots were solving given processes. The intent here was to sow a seed in their brain. Then we started the brainstorm session, and I can tell you it was amazing to see the energy and creativity after such a short period of, I would say, training for them getting used to RPA. They came out with 85 ideas after 2 sessions that we finally grouped into 18 projects. We then structured the process a bit further by creating a community dedicated to analytics and RPA, organized new brainstorm session. Some people will call them botathon, structure around procurement functions and groups. And the next step now will be to launch the same brainstorm session around procurement processes. The intent remains always the same, is to identify process that needs automation and structure the project and identify the associated return on investment.
Okay, and do you have a centralized center of excellence?
Oh yes, we do have an RPA COE for our supply chain group, not only for procurement. And yes, I truly believe it is critical, and this for several reasons. I mean, first, and obviously, we need to concentrate the level of expertise in one team. When we started our journey in RPA in procurement, we did not have the expertise to develop RPAs, and we did not necessarily want to become experts. So relying on the networks of experts, to me, is the best way to start. 2, it is critical to ensure that the bots will design, the bots we will program will be compliant with our internal processes. I mean, ensuring, for example, that the bots will not put our IT infrastructure on its knees. And also, we need to ensure that what we create meets certain standards, like cybersecurity requirements. Last but not least, it is important that the bots are well managed, well orchestrated, supported in a run mode for further deployment. Very critical as well. So as I stated before, we create a procurement community where all parts of the organization are represented. And one of the objectives of this community is to funnel all the RPA ideas coming from the procurement teams, being also the catalyst for RPA. And finally, ensuring that we structure the ideas into projects for the COE to manage easily and also to maximize and optimize the time of the Center of Excellence. Their goal is then to develop the bots with the support of the business process owners, which reside into the function and here in procurement. So this is the whole journey and process we put together, Florence.
Very interesting. So that means that you involve your employees in automation, for example, by giving them the opportunity to submit new ideas and perhaps arming them with a robot for every person?
Well, I would say yes, and absolutely yes on the first part. So it can simply not work efficiently without involving your employees, the process experts. What I really call the process experts you find in everywhere into your organization. To me, to extract the biggest benefit quickly from RPA, you need to bring the basic knowledge as deep as possible in your organization. You need to have your people confronted daily with repetitive tasks, experts in their processes, knowledgeable enough about RPA to be able to quickly identify where RPA could help. This is why we have built a training program with the support of UiPath to develop our procurement teams in that skill. Not to make them necessarily programmers, but to have them knowledgeable enough about RPA so that they can structure a project, identifying the return on investment, defining the project datasheet to submit to the COE. And we designed, as you know, 3 training modules, the beginners modules covering about 4 to 5 hours of online training, intermediate 2 days of trainings, plus a small project to execute. And now we're moving into the experts module. It's going to be 5 full days of trainings, plus a big project to execute. All this with the support of you guys at UiPath. And to show you the success of it, the two first levels, so the beginners and intermediate level, are open to all procurement community. And we had about 100 people in the beginners and about so far 30 people in the intermediate module. All this in about 4 months. So it shows the success.
Okay, very clear. I have a final question. How do you measure the success of your automation program?
Well, simple. I like simple things. So it's simply by evaluate the efficiency gain. And most of the time, it is hours we save in a day, days we save in a month. This is how each of the projects have an equivalent of ROI, which is measured in that way in Schneider Electric, at least in Procurement Group.
So thank you very much, Christophe, for your time today and sharing this inspiring experience with us.